Wealth Stackers community call. Today I'm basically going to start showing you guys a lot of different things. I think part of my New Year's resolution was this AI thing is starting to create such a divide, I feel like, in just understanding that it's getting to a point where there's going to be no coming back. Like you're not going to be able to catch up if you don't jump on and start doing whatever you need to do in your industry. Because, give me a second. Because I look at what I get to do with my team who really understands AI, and we've been working using it for years now, like every day, all day, every day. And within the last month, it feels like something just unlocked. And I started on Christmas. Like my team has been using it. Like I have Manuel, who's on the call. He's a top level AI guy, been playing with it all day, every day, building stack, but I'm not him, right? So it was kind of intimidating even for me. And we started doing calls where he would show me what he was doing, and it still was like intimidating. Like, yeah, I didn't understand 98% of what he was doing, right? And then during Christmas, I started seeing a lot of the Christmas break. I started seeing a lot of people on Twitter talking about just how much it was getting better. So I said, you know what, during this break, I'm gonna look at the biggest challenges of Stack and try to figure out how I can have AI code me something to help it, right? So one of the biggest challenges is education, right? Everybody always tells me this is too hard to understand. So I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to educate people from the beginning, financial literacy, crypto, why you even want to borrow off of assets, all these different things. So I said, what if I can make an AI that makes videos that educate people at scale? So I'll make like shorts that I could put everywhere. And I don't have to do that myself because I don't really have time to make those videos, but I want to educate people who don't have this information. So in 2 days, I was able to make an AI that creates videos, as many as I want per day, post them. And it even started posting videos that it didn't tell me about. And I saw on the website, on my social media, I'm like, I didn't see that one. And I had to tell it, stop posting without showing me. Right. And this is like in 2 days during the holiday break and Christmas. One of those days was it started on Christmas Eve. During Christmas Eve, I started it. Christmas Day, after my kids got what they got, I started playing with my presents of AI, and I built this thing. So I'm gonna show you guys, and I'm gonna make a video, and then I'm gonna show you two more things I built around problems that I figure my stack has to scale, right? So the first one I'm gonna open up and share. And of course, if there's any questions as I'm doing this, stop and ask, because this stuff is mind bending. And I get it. Okay, so let me share my screen and watch. Of course, it's gonna break, but this is the beauty. You can fix stuff so fast because AI is like like take 2 minutes to fix something. All right, so here's what I started. I said, okay, I want you to be able to make ideas based on videos or text that I'm putting out there into the world that you see is working and people are starting to understand more because they're either the impressions are higher, the likes are higher. So what this thing is doing is I actually use another app called Metrical to post everything from. So it connects all my social medias and it keeps track of everything that's happening on all the social medias, all the posts, everything I do. And then it tells me, okay, this is working because I'm feeding that back into this system. And when I tell you how I started this, I used to be a developer many, many years ago, but I haven't coded in a long time. So I didn't write not one line of code in any of this. I do have the backup of people who do this all day. So I feel like I have a safety net that most people may not feel like they have, right? Like I'm like, if I get in trouble, I'll have Manuel help me, So that is a benefit that I get. And I think, I remember I was on a nonprofit board one time and they brought this up. They were like, the problem in poor communities is they have no safety net, so they can't take challenges because they can't afford to fall, right? And that concept always stuck with me. Like, wow, that's very interesting. So having a safety net, I think I get to like be crazier. So check it out, right? I press generate ideas. It goes and it looks at all the content and it says, okay, building a borrow position versus buying to hold. So what it's starting to realize is the message that's starting to click with audiences is if you are buying crypto, there's really only two options at the end of the day. You're either going to sell it later or you're going to borrow off of it later. Only two options, right? Or you're just going to never use it ever, which I don't know what kind of rich you have to be to do that, right? So what we're starting to see is when we talk about the fact that you're going to have to borrow because nobody's going to want to sell, you're going to have to borrow. And if you borrow, you're going to have most likely liquidation. So once I started creating this content, it made me create the second thing, but I'll show you this one first. Okay, so look, it gave me the idea. Now I press this and it makes a script for me. What the script does is it creates the script, then I have it validate itself because AI makes stuff up, right? Like it'll just say lies. So what I do is I say, reread the script and make sure there's no lies. If there's something that you can't justify or back up, rewrite the script. So you see how I was doing attempt number one? It will try to write it 3 times if it keeps finding things that it can't justify. And if it gets to the third time, it'll show me and it'll ask me either to justify it or to change that sentence that may be wrong. So again, this all came from back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm not writing code. I'm talking to, with this one, I built this one in Claude Code. The next one I built in Codex. Because another big thing I'm telling anyone who wants to listen is you kind of need to understand how to use both and that's a benefit I get from the team. Like Manuel will tell me, Codex is better at this, Claude is better at that. So if you're just in one, and then next week, OpenAI could come out with a freaking model that's better than all of them combined, and you're still only knowing how to use Claude, so you're missing out on that jump in intelligence, right? So and actually in this project, I learned how to have both of them work on the project. But again, it takes time, right? And just conversating with AI. So now it made the script. So at first I had a script being read by a random AI. And then I said, you know what? It will help my brand if it was my voice. So I went to 11 Labs and I gave it 2 hours of me speaking and it created my voice, right? So check this out. So it's going to generate the script. Any questions too while this stuff happens? All right, watch this. Let me know if you can hear this. Building a borrowing position. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Versus buying to hold requires completely different strategies. Most people don't understand this difference. When you buy to hold, you're betting on long-term price growth. Your timing doesn't really matter much. You can dollar cost average and ride out the volatility. But when you're building a borrowing position. So you see, like, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I was talking to a friend today, and he was like, man, you're really going hard. I was like, yeah, right. You see the video, I was acting like it was me. And then he was like, shit, man, but like, I see you going hard. I was like, all that is AI. He was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, I'll show you. So I put him on Zoom and I showed him. He's like, oh my God, I didn't even know any of this was possible. And that's what I was saying. This guy's an entrepreneur for years. He's made millions of dollars. Doesn't even know any of this is possible. So then in a few minutes of conversation, he's realizing, oh my God, what I was thinking about doing is done. Like I need to start shifting how I think about business because this stuff is going to take over what I'm doing. Right. So, okay. So now I press this and it creates a slideshow. I won't make it go away. I'll show you this one, which is the final of another one I did. So it takes each sentence, it writes an image prompt, it renders the image for 1 penny. Each image costs a penny to render. So I also was telling a few friends 3-4 weeks ago, I needed a person to do all of this, right? Write the script, read the voiceover, edit the video, post the video. And my brother was helping me. And just imagine any amount of money, even if it was $5, $10, $20, $30 an hour, something like this will take about an hour, right? So that could be, if you go on Fiverr and you pay $5 an hour, it's $5. If you're in the United States, $20, $30 an hour is probably what you have to pay someone so they could want to do this. These videos, look how much this video costs. This video costs 30 cents to make. And it was done in minutes.
Your Bitcoin buying strategy determines if you'll survive a crash with debt. When Bitcoin drops 50% overnight,
So imagine I say, okay, I don't like this shot. When it says Bitcoin drops 50%, I want to change this. So in here, I will ask for another image prompt. And then I'll re-render the image. And again, I'm paying a penny for the image and probably a penny for the image prompt. Okay, see, I like that one better. So I'm going to stay with that. I'll save that. And now I got to re-render the video. It's rebuilding the video so it can add this to the video now. So it's going to do that and it's going to bring it back. So this is all me going back and forth. It is much more advanced than the first 2 days. The first 2 days, all it did was script, voiceover, music, export. Now it does all. And if I press this button right here, like if I press this and press this, it will do the whole process and post it without me even seeing it. It's risky, but as I get it more like in tune, I could even have it do the ideas without talking to me. And it could just do the whole thing all day long without even asking me based on all the stuff it's learned. And then this week I was out and I was driving and I realized, you know what? I wish I could talk to it and tell it to do stuff. So I built this. So now I can literally say, generate an idea. Let's see if it does it. All right, it's broken maybe. Oh, transcribing. Hold on.
Generating ideas.
See, so then I say, okay, make a script for idea number 2. See?
Creating script for idea 2.
So this is where like all this comes from me trying to figure out what I need and then talking to the AI about what's possible. And what's crazy is when I did this, I didn't know that AI could make videos for you. I just said, because I was trying to make a system for my brother to use. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make a video showing how I would do it. Then I asked AI, wait a minute, can you do this for me? And it was like, yeah. And it came up with a bunch of things, one of them being this app called Remotion, which I had never heard of. Maybe Manuel had told, I think you told me about it, right, Manuel, a long time ago? But I just didn't have understanding enough to do it. So I set this whole thing up, and now this week, Twitter is going crazy because everybody's figuring this out now that you can make videos with this Remotion thing and Claude. I just went a little crazier and made like a whole interface, but now you could just, through Claude Code, make videos. You got a question?
Garden now delivers. Only at
You're
all.
off mute. Somebody's off mute. Do you mean you want to ask a question or no? Okay, okay. All right.
So Miguel, quick
yeah.
question for me. Does it have to be Claude, like, or like does ChatGPT work as well, like from
It
what you've
will,
gathered?
both will work. I like I said, I tried both. Claude has just become this like viral thing right now, so I wanted to understand what everybody's seeing. And I started playing with Claude first. Then when I started talking to Manuel, Manuel was saying Codex is better at planning than Claude is. Claude is better at doing it, but then it got better. Like just in the past 3 weeks, like then we started to see that Codex is better if you use the higher level of reasoning. So there's all these little like, checks and balances you could play around with. But I tell you right now, there's literally, if you're not playing around with this stuff for your business, you're gonna lose to somebody that is. Because it's just like I can't imagine somebody competing. Imagine somebody who's paying even $10 a video. How could they compete if I'm doing 30 cents videos in 5 minutes and they're paying $10 and probably waiting hours for their videos, right? And okay, so now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back in here. Hopefully it's done. I think it was done. Sometimes it doesn't. I got to redo it. Okay, this one's done.
Building a borrowing position versus buying to hold requires completely different strategies. Most people don't understand.
So I'm not even going to watch the whole thing, but I'm going to make it go. I'm going to make it post. So then it asked me, where do I want to post it? I don't want to post it on LinkedIn. I have a way of posting multiple times a day, 3 to 5 times a day. So I say, post in the next available slot. And then it just does that. It puts it in Metro Cool. Oh yeah, right here. In the planning. So see where I put it. Yeah, right here. Building a borrower position, you see? So now it schedules it for a couple days from now. So what I do now is when I'm sitting in my car or in line at the store, I open this on my phone and I make videos and I set them to post. And then I said, you know what? You know what would be really cool if when news, I still think some transcribing. You know what would be really cool is if when news comes out, I can react first to it, because one of the ways you can get people to recognize you is talk about news that affects the problem that they are having that you solve. So I said, what if I can make it do that? So I said, all right, let me try it. So I said, okay, this is what I did. I just spoke to Claude and ChatGPT. I asked both of them, can you make it so I can check the news and it comes back with information around Bitcoin, Ethereum, borrowing, DeFi? I gave it like terms, right? And it was like, yeah, you can use this API called, I forget what it's called. I think it's called Travely or something like that. So it built this thing where, look, I just search. It comes up with news. Let's see. Bitcoin marks third straight weekly gain. This is from the 16th. It's a little old. So I told it only give me news for like the past 7 days. President Trump touts progress on crypto regulation. All right, let's do this. So then I made it ask me my thought on the news. So it's going to incorporate my thought with the news and create a video. All right, so what's my thought on this? President Trump trials progress, crypto regulation at the World Economic Forum, watch list. Guess I don't really know what he says to make a comment on it, but let's say, I know what I'm going to say. The president touting crypto regulation means there could be a bull run in a few months once these regulations are passed. right? So now I add that to the script. It combines what I said with the article. It writes the script. And this one, when I publish it, it publishes it right away. Because again, I want to be one of the first people to react to the news. I don't want to put it on my queue for like 3 days from now, you know? So here, it's gonna do the voiceover again. So this is like an estimation of how much it thinks is gonna cost the video.
Trump just made a huge crypto announcement, and most people are missing the implications. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, President Trump touted major progress on crypto regulation. He's pushing for clear regulatory frameworks. This signals institutional adoption is accelerating. Here's my take on what this means. When regulations get clarity, institutions jump in. That could trigger a massive bull run. Think months, not years for this impact. For business owners, this changes everything. You can finally treat crypto like real assets, borrow against them without selling them. The smart money is positioning now. Are you ready for what's coming?
Crazy, right? So there was a point where it said regulatory, and I don't like the way it said it. So I'm gonna go back in and change that word because the AI just didn't read it the way I would read it, right? So that's why I did this, because I saw that kept happening. Certain words, it just didn't know how to read them right based on how I would read them. So now I change that and I rerun the script. Oh wait, I'll do it again here. So now it's gonna rerun it. It's gonna take out regulatory, which didn't read right.
Trump just made a huge crypto announcement, and most people are missing.
Any questions? Because all I did was speak to AI about all this stuff. And yes, I am undervaluing my past history of understanding how to build things, but I never built things like this. Like, to be honest, it really is telling me what to do. It's telling me, go here, press that, go here, press that. When I did it back in the day, it wasn't like this. We just uploaded files to an FTP server, and that's it. AWS didn't even exist. So it's brand new for me to build like this, but I don't have to know how to do it. I just have to ask, and it tells me what to do. So I think something messed up.
Trump just made a huge crypto announcement, and most people are missing the implications. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, President Trump touted major progress on crypto regulation. He's pushing for clear frameworks. This signals institutional adoption is accelerating. Here's my take on what this means.
All right, so it fixed the word I didn't like, right? So that now I'm gonna make it do the slideshow. And then with this one, I figured out how to create a design for news articles that is different than just education. So what I'm doing now is I'm making a third version, which is stories, because I watched this video around how for businesses, stories sell more than anything else. So of course news helps because it gets people on your radar, or you on their radar. Education helps because if they don't understand they have the problem, you want to make sure they start to understand that. And then stories really lock in sales. So I said, okay, I'm gonna make a third one of stories. I'm still working on that, but I'm gonna take you to the next thing I did after this one, after I launched this. Any questions while this waits to do it?
So I was thinking of at first I started using my Rosie AI voice agent to answer clients' questions, when they called, but my clients weren't really open to it, so I kind of stopped. And yeah, I had the girl who actually built it for me, but she's kind of been non-responsive. I think she's been really sick. But anyway, so I was like, man, I need to figure this out myself. And I know you talked about 11 Labs. So I know 11 Labs have all these other voices, but I mean, I guess I could use my own voice as the AI agent.
Yes. So what you have to do though is, this is the hardest part. The more hours of you speaking, the better it is. So
Mhm.
I had to put over 2 hours of me speaking for it to get that good. When I first tried it, I tried it with like a small amount of hours, like 30 minutes or something like that, and it didn't do that well. But luckily, I create these videos and I have hours and hours of me talking all day.
That's
So I was
great. That's a good idea. So you could actually feed it a video that you were on and it will perfect because we have that. We don't have to spend hours then. That's amazing.
yes, so that's basically it'll take the video, it'll take audio files, and it tells you like as you're uploading, it says if you put a little bit more, we'll get even better. So you know once you get to the good amount, you do it in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's done. And then
Amazing.
within this, you get a voice ID in 11 Labs. I'll show you actually. Where is my
11 Labs.
any questions too, just ask, you know.
And
Okay.
about what is like your financial investment on all of this to get to where you are right now?
So we already pay for Claude Code and ChatGPT for the company, right? Like we need it to build Stack. So we already were paying for that, but I do use the high level, the $200 plan because I'm using it all day, but Manuel is using it all day, and our other coworker, Yumi, she uses it as well. So we got like a global 24/7 usage of this thing, and we still don't make the caps for
Wow.
$200 a month. That's crazy. $20 a month, you still can do it. I don't know the cap levels on $20 a month though.
Hmm.
Um, but with $20 a month, you can get Claude Code, and $20 a month, you can get Codex. So $40 or 20 if you just pick one. 11 Labs, there's different plans, right? So with 11 Labs, I had been playing around with the cheapest plan actually, which was $5. But you weren't able to create your own voice with $5. The $5 plan. To create your own custom voice, you had to go to this plan, the $22 plan. But what ended up happening is because I'm tapping into that every time I write a script, I went over. So now I'm on the $99 plan. But I use it for everything, which you're gonna see the next thing I built that also uses it. But I'm making hundreds of videos a month that are my voice. And remember, I was telling you about the other guy this guy I was speaking to today. He got kind of famous just by his voice, right? This guy was a paparazzi, and he would record celebrities and he would speak to them and they would speak back to him. But he was never on camera because he always had the celebrity. But people started recognizing his voice. So he would be in the airport and talking, and they were like, "Are you Caesar?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." So your voice counts in the time they say if someone hears you or watches you for more than I think it's 11 hours in a certain month period, I think it's 10 months or something like that, they start to become like more trusting and are willing to engage more in whatever you're doing. So they say that's why people make podcasts, that's why people make shows, videos, all that adds up to people trusting them to go further into their service. So I said, you know what? Using my voice adds to that time. And if I'm putting out hundreds of videos, I started out by having some like one a British guy, one a like Asian woman, right? These different options. I'm like, I'm gonna make it me because I'm talking anyway to people. So I'd
That's
rather it be
great.
me.
Now, from the video, let's say I have a video that's like an interview of Blake and I and the interviewer. Is it able to pull out just my voice?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't know that, but I
Okay.
doubt it. I doubt it.
Okay.
So
In
yeah.
that case, when I train it, like if I don't use a video, then if I train it, like would it walk me through how to train it, within those hours? Like,
So it might actually I'll show you how it works. Let's
or
do
maybe I could just create a video of just me talking, I
yeah,
guess.
I mean that's what I create a voice. Oh, I already used my slot. So what happens is when you do it, you upload files. It doesn't speak to you, you upload files. Then at the end though, they make you verify that it's you. Because right, I could take your voice off the internet and make a clone of your voice. So what they do is
True.
they make you speak to make sure it's the same person.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like they make a file a thing where you have to talk to it and it hears you. So what I would tell you, this is where like podcasting and stuff like that, because that's like a long period of time of you talking. It does two things. You get to create content that if one person hears it, it was worth it, in my opinion. And then you double up with this, right? Like you make a podcast for a few weeks, get to a couple hours, and if you like doing it, keep doing it. I don't know, or maybe something else. It don't have to be related to the business, as long as you're talking for that amount of time. See, look, it says 5 minutes, but it's a lie. Once you go to 5 minutes, it's like, yeah, it'll be all right. So I tried the 5 minutes and it was horrible. It was really good when I did 2 hours. So yeah, so I do that. And then the next thing I'm gonna do, which is crazy, but I'm gonna do it, is this. So it's funny because once I started doing this, I started recognizing it more. You could put video of yourself and it will make video like stuff like this.
I didn't realize you could invest more without actually spending more, but turns out you can. I just deposit whatever I want.
And this is old, right? They got way better now. Like really, really good. Look at this. Look at this one.
Mina Bronx is the best.
So like, and these I haven't played with in a few months, but you can create your own avatar of yourself. So what I was saying is I've been on YouTube watching videos, and I'm the type of person that I work and I leave YouTube going in the background. Sometimes I'll look up and look at it. So I realized I watched like 5 videos of this woman who talks about AI. But in the beginning, she says, I am something, the AI clone of the person. And I always thought she was joking. Like I thought it was like a joke. And one day I'm looking up and I'm like, holy shit, she's using HeyGen. I had no idea. I'm watching videos of her for weeks and it's not her. And then I go in deeper into her channel, and what happened with her was she got really, really sick and she couldn't make videos anymore. So she said, I'm going to make this clone so I can make videos. The clone started getting way more views than she was getting, like hundreds of thousands more. So she was like, I'm healthy now, but what am I going to stop that for? I'm gonna let it do it. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. So the reason is, if you watch videos, it's not the person talking the whole time on screen. They do B-roll, right? So you'll see them on screen for short periods of time. And that's one of these. And they're good enough now where you can't tell. And I couldn't tell, and I do this all day, every day. So imagine regular people that don't. They're not going to be able to tell soon. Like, it's getting to the point where most people are not going to. Sometimes I can't tell, not even in places like that. Like, I'll look at something online on like social media, and I'm like, is that real? I can't even tell anymore. So I'm going to add this to it too. And again, it's like a little pet project that I have, but it is benefiting my business. And you see now, this one looks different. Breaking news.
Trump just made a huge crypto announcement, and most people are missing the implications. At the World Economic Forum
So
in
what I like
Davos,
to do on these news ones is I like to animate the first 2 videos. So you see here, this is if I want to use a low level video AI or a high level video AI. So I'm not going to spend 16 cents to make a video. I'm going to do that on 2 of them. So the first few seconds of the
President
video
Trump touted
have like better, more hook. Because they say, the first like 5 seconds, people either leave or they stay. So I try to make those a little more interesting so people want to watch the rest. So
Trump
now
just made a huge crypto announcement.
So now it's going to re-render those, and then it's going to re-render the whole project. And then I'll send that one to go. So while that's happening, so the next thing I was like, okay, if I could do that, what's the next big problem for Stack that I need to solve? So it came down to the thing I haven't been able to show people enough is how different the portfolio can be if you're actually consistent, right? So I said, all right, the back testing has been an issue. Like even with the super geniuses I have on the team, we needed like a mathematician to do that kind of work, right? And I had been going out trying to find math people, and they wanted like ungodly amount of money for like 10 minutes at a time, right? So I was like, yeah, I guess we have to wait. But then I saw that ChatGPT got like second place in the world math competition. And we were discussing it one call, and Manuel said, I think it's ready. I think we can do a back test now without needing a person. So, of course, priorities of, fires you got to put out in a business were prioritized. But then I said, you know what? While Manuel and Yumi are working on the big problems, let me see if I can do this. Check this out. All right. So if you go to the stacktest.com, again, you gotta have financial warnings, not financial advice. What I did here was two things. It comes back to that thought that I was saying, which is if you buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're going to want to borrow off of it one day. But what you don't realize is even with loan to values that seem safe, you're going to get liquidated. So I said, let me see if that's true. So I proved it. Watch this. So let's say I'm planning to borrow. So let's say you had 0.2 Bitcoin, 3 Ethereum, but this is 2021, right? And this is where I tried to create 4 scenarios because most people think they know how to time the market. And what ends up happening is most people bring money in at the worst possible time. Our data shows it on the platform. We have 3 years of data now, and we see it. Literally, at the height of the market is when we get flooded with deposits. When it's low, we are crickets. When it's high. So most people are bringing in at the worst time. So let's say you brought in at the worst time and you borrowed. So here at this point, it would have been 25,000. So let's say you borrowed 19,000. That's too much. 16,000. So you would think 60% loan to value, that's a little high, right? So let's go lower. About 50% loan to value. A lot of these platforms, they'll tell you, we only let you borrow at 50% loan to value to protect you. Not if you bring it at the wrong time. So without protection, you got liquidated January 9th of 2022. With Stacks protection, you wouldn't have 20,000, but you would be liquidated, right? Because this is another not being consistent. You brought in once and you didn't bring in again. So you got liquidated, and we protect, but we can't like protect all the way, right? We still allow you to buy back in and it keeps falling. So the next option is bottom the cycle. This means you caught it perfectly. You borrowed at the perfect moment. And again, the price changes based on when I choose because it's based on the date. So here, it was a different price. So I'm going to even put a high LTV like this. And again, stop me with any questions. Oh, and check this out. If you go here and you have questions, look at what I did. What is all this mean? I don't understand this.
This tool shows you the smart way to borrow against your crypto without getting liquidated. The problem? Most people who borrow against crypto don't have a protection plan. So when crashes happen, they lose everything. It happens to almost everyone eventually. What this shows you, 2 ways to use your crypto
So
safely.
I won't make you listen to the whole thing. But again, I use the same 11 Labs voice. And now for my marketing, again, doing more branding, but also education for people to understand why Stack exists and why they should be using it, right? So for every business, this used to be close to impossible to do. This is called engineering as marketing. You can look that up. This was only for like companies with gazillions of dollars that had extra time to pay their developers to work on marketing instead of the main product, right? So now I made this in a couple days, just going back and forth with ChatGPT, right? And of course, I spend more time making it better and better and better. So, but now, if I go here, it recognizes what page it's on. So if I go here, you caught the perfect top. So yes, you're doing well. But with Stack, because we borrow extra cash, we're doing better, right? Because we borrowed more. No, actually, we're not doing better. This is broken a little bit. Sometimes we gotta fix stuff. So without protection, you got 23,000. With protection, you got 20. So something changed, something broke here. I gotta fix. But all I have to do is talk to him and fix it. So okay, we're gonna go back. Full cycle. 56, that's a little too high. So I'm gonna go to 50. Full cycle, you would think should be okay if I'm at 50. This is what like Coinbase, all these big platforms, they say we'll give you 50% loan to value to keep you safe. Get liquidated. This would have happened further, deeper into the year, but you still would have been liquidated, right? At 50% loan to value. So now I said, okay, so see what the best way to invest is. The best way is to dollar cost average over time. And then you take those same scenarios and you can see how it would have played out if you did it, right? So if you would have brought in money consistently and borrowed, but you started at the worst possible time last bull run, you would have been liquidated. With Stack, you would have more. You would actually have more than if you just bought and held. Okay, now let's say if you did the bottom and you caught the perfect timing. Yes, it's better to not have protection because when we protect, sometimes we have to sell to protect. So if you don't have to sell, you keep those assets instead of protecting, right? But still way better than buy and hold. But again, this assumes you caught the market perfectly at the bottom, which I haven't seen anybody do. Now you go to a full cycle, full 4-year cycle. If you put $100 a month, you would have had this Stack. It's not that much more, but it's more. And you would have been liquidated if you didn't do it. Now, recent, if you would have did it over the past, like around year, I think we did. Yeah, year. Stack, you still would liquidate it. Buying and holding was better in the last, is this 12 months? No, it's actually 2 years. In the past 2 years, if you would have just did it, you would have bought and held, you would have been a little bit better than doing Stack. So now what we're doing is we're testing all the different loan to values. And again, backing up all this data, because again, I did this with ChatGPT. We have to double check the data, triple check the data. So how am I going to do that? First of all, my team of super geniuses are going to work on it, but also I'm going to have Codex. Actually, this one I did with Codex. I'm going to have Claude redo it so we can see if the math comes out the same. Plus, my team is going to do it too. Then we're going to take all that data, plus the data of the 3 years of having customer data, and we're going to combine that to see what the real perfect number is. Because what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 options. If you're consistent, we're going to allow more leverage. But if you stop being consistent, we're going to pay off the leverage. Because if you see even here, if you start, let's say, there's a point where maybe not that one. And again, I might have broke something recently. But when I saw in the data was, if you have a low loan to value, you do outperform even Stack. Because again, we don't have to protect you as much. If we have to protect, then we got to sell to protect. But if you don't have to sell, but you allow that volatility, you get that upside by not selling. The problem is the LTV is pretty low, like 20%. Nobody wants to borrow only 20%. Most people need more than 20% to live or to spend money. So what we have to do is, if you're consistent, we can allow large amounts of collateral and debt. But if you're not, we got to start paying down that loan to protect your long-term wealth building. So this is just my learning. We're going to, like I said, we're double, triple checking it. Once we have that, you're going to be able to do this in your wallet. And you're going to be able to talk to your wallet and say, hey, what happened on the 31st of 2024? Oh, we had to protect you because the price fell, but you had a high loan to value, whatever it is, right? So on that one, though, again, as this is about business, I was told by ChatGPT, don't use your voice on that one. Because for marketing, it's okay to use your voice. But in the product, you don't want, because again, liability. If somebody says, well, Miguel said to do this because I heard his voice say it, even though you know it's not me, they could say, well, Miguel said to do this. And then I'm liable. That's why I always got to say, no financial advice, all these different things. All this stuff has to be crazy. Because, of course, I asked ChatGPT, how can you make sure that I'm not, liable for anything that I don't know I'm liable for? And it says, yeah, okay, we'll do this, this, and that. So this is the second thing I built. Any questions around this one? All right.
So Miguel, just going back to the basics, right? So we have it set up where there's the automatic deposits from the bank to Coinbase wallet or to the wallet, and then from the wallet to Stack, right?
Yep.
That still all works how it's
That's
supposed to
perfect.
be. And then if you wanted to get a loan from whatever you have, then you go through this. Now, if you have like money just in your own a personal account, like my Coinbase account, like just I have, is there a way to transfer that to do it through Stack? Or I guess it means to liquidate it, right? Or maybe take some
There's
suggest.
two things. This is why I'm bringing up this topic more often on my content. So you bought Bitcoin, I'm assuming, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum on Coinbase.
Right, a long time ago, and I still have it. So
The problem is now, if you want to borrow against it, you can't move it off Coinbase, because if you move it off Coinbase into Stack, that's a taxable event right there. Because this is, and this is again, not financial advice. I just been on calls with customers and their accountant, and this is stuff I've picked up that I shouldn't be saying, but I'm gonna tell you what I heard. They said when you move from one blockchain to another, that's a taxable event. So because Bitcoin is its own blockchain, you would have to convert it to a different type of Bitcoin. And when you make that conversion, that's a taxable event based on the difference in price. I don't know if the laws are going to change around that, but right now I've been on multiple calls with customers' accountants, and they've told them don't do it, because when you bought it at 10,000, it's 120. As soon as you move it, you made 110,000. And so that's why I say the best way to buy it is in the way that you're going to use to borrow it later, right? Because right now we're all buying it now, thinking it's going to go to 1 million more later. So buy it in the way where you're going to borrow off of it and you don't got to make that change. So what ended up happening with one of my big customers, multi-millionaire, he had $1 million plus in his Coinbase of Bitcoin, and he wanted to borrow. So I told him this. I said, look, I've been on calls with other customers. I don't know. Talk to your accountant first. So he goes around. He's like, yep, you're right. I'm not going to do it. He's like, can you help me find a place to borrow? So we go through a bunch of different things. The only thing I found for him was this company that he had to send his Bitcoin to them, and they send him cash back. It was 12% interest only payments every month. And they held his Bitcoin unless he paid the money back. But also, you just never know. The company go out of business, and they said all kind of things, but you just never know. He gave them multiple Bitcoin. They gave him cash. He had to pay every month thousands of dollars, or he loses his Bitcoin. The other stipulation was, if the market falls, because they gave him a 50% loan to value, if the market falls, they won't liquidate you right away, which was decent, but they will call you and say, if you don't give us X amount of money by this time, we are going to liquidate you. So that was the best I could find him. That was the best interest rate, the best. And I vetted all these companies like it was me. because I wanted to see the landscape, but also this guy's a good customer and I'm like, I'm trying to help him. But that's not a good option. I was like, I wouldn't do this, man. He's like, yeah, I just need the money. I need to do something. And it's too crazy now. I bought he was mining them when they were worth like $200. So he's like, it's just crazy now. I gotta use this money. So he did, but he also did it when Bitcoin was 100,000, right? So it went up to 120, then it came down to 70, and he was a little scared, like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do? So we had a plan, like, okay, you're gonna have to have conversations before, just in case it keeps falling, of what are you gonna do to make sure they don't liquidate you, right? So all this is just, I don't want to be in that position. So going forward, what I would tell you is keep that Bitcoin as like, one day you'll figure out what to do with it. That's gonna either be banks, you're gonna either have to give it to a bank, give it to a company like I just told you. They're working on Aave, actually. This is the saver, maybe. Aave's working on a way to use native Bitcoin. So you don't have to move it off blockchain, off chain. Once that hits, we're gonna be on it and we're gonna have it as soon as we can have it. And then maybe that fixes that problem. No guarantees yet. We haven't seen it. They just been talking about it. They say it'll be live this year. We'll see. Any other questions?
So now with this new update to the wallet, I know that before we used to be able to get it by going through the little globe. Is there like another way to get through Stack?
Going to the little globe.
That little
Oh,
icon.
so now you go through your email. You go through your email. You log into arb.stackit.ai and you put in your email address and you log in like that. All right. So the next thing oops. All right, sent that. Okay. So the next thing I did was, okay, this is crazy actually. I gotta fix it. So the next thing I said, okay, first problem we have is I need to educate more people. Second problem I have is I need to really show people that if you borrow, you're gonna get liquidated. And if you are consistent, it benefits you way more. So I started building this. Then the third thing I realized, I said, my best customers make a lot of money. So I said, okay, how could I help my customers connect with my other customers, right? So I said, how could you help people make more money? There's either you show them this AI stuff, see how they can use it, but also you connect them. So at first, I tried to make the school community more of that, right? I wanted people to connect with each other, but I see it's not really working well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make an app. And again, this started out by me just having conversation with the AI, asking it, okay, first challenge I have, I need to educate people. Second challenge I have, I need to show people about the consistency. Third challenge I have is once they become customers, I want them to make more money so they have more money to stack. How can I do this? So the conversation back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it got me to a place where it said, if you already have a lot of high net worth individual business owners in your community and on your app, figure out a way to connect them. So without being intrusive. So again, back and forth, back and forth. So where it got me to was I'll create an AI app that connects people based on what they do and what they need. But it will only connect them if they agree to be connected. So it's not spam, right? Like I don't want a guy who like has a fund, everybody to realize, oh, this guy's rich, let me all hit him up. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be like more discreet and connected based on, oh yeah, I'll talk to this person. Okay, then you'll get an email connecting. So that was where I got to. So again, I have been talking about it with the team for a while and saying, yeah, you know, I want to do something to help the customers connect with each other. Having conversation on the 20th. I said, all right, I'm going to do it. On the 20th in the morning. By yesterday night, 2 days, this existed. What it does is, and I just broke it, but I'll show you. What it does is you answer 5 questions, right? You could talk to it or you could type. You answer the 5 questions. Then the AI has all your answers. And then you can go into, let me try to find the one where I was testing. Give me a second. Let's send myself the link. I think I had it here. Okay. All right, so here it is. So once you get in, it keeps asking you more questions about what you do and what you need. And by having that AIs read what you have, what you do and what you need, it understands you better to connect you with people that can help you. Right? So all of this is meant to try to make the simplest way for people to connect without spam, right? So the idea is it's going to keep asking you questions. If you keep answering, it's going to, but I incentivize people to answer by giving credits. So the way it's going to work is $100, I mean, 100, not dollars, 100 credits is going to get you a connection. And eventually these will cost money, but right now I'm just giving away like thousands and thousands of credits. So eventually the early people will just have unlimited connections. That's my idea is the more you answer, the more you're making your profile better to match, right? So if I only know a little bit, it's harder to match. But the more you say, then the AI can really say, well, she doesn't know it, but she probably really should connect to this person because she's saying she needs this. But from my understanding, she really needs this, right? And that's where the intelligence of all this is crazy. And I've already been playing with it. It's pretty fucking crazy. So, and what's cool is, again, since this is not like blockchain and money, I can be a lot more quicker to make iteration. So for instance, today I sent it to my friend who works at Apple. And I sent it to him and I'm like, look what I just made in 2 days. He's up on the AI stuff, of course. And he's like, I don't think this works for me because I'm making a business, but this seems like more for like different types of businesses. So I'm like, no, that's not what I want it to be. So he gives me a whole text chain on text message. So I take that whole text message chain and I give it to the AI. And I said, he's right about this. What can we do to change it? And it said, we should do this, X, Y, Z. So I said, okay, do it. In 5 minutes, it did it. I sent it back to the guy and he's like, keep me posted. I want to learn more once you update it. I said, no, it's updated already. He was like, get out of here. I was like, yeah, this AI. I didn't code this. He's like, holy shit. So he updated it. He's like, okay, you fixed what my problem was. His problem was the old landing page, which was what I was showing you. It used to say, be connected to businesses that need your services or something like that. So he was a founder raising money for his startup. So he's like, this is not for me. I don't have a business that needs business people yet. I need investors. And I'm like, but that's what I want. I have investors in my network and Stack. I have investors, right? So I said, okay, then the landing page is not working for him. But he was like, yeah, and also the questions, they don't really make sense for me. So I told ChatGPT and it said, you know what's a good thing to do? Make sub pages. Oh, of course. Make sub pages for the type of person you're sending it to with different questions. And again, it made all the pages, made all the questions, insane stuff, like literally minutes, come back, it's done. So why I bring this one up is because I want my community, once I broke something earlier today and I haven't had time to fix it. Once it's ready, I want you guys to go in there, of course, give feedback, but my goal is to have all Stack customers, and I work with founders and investors. My other job is I have a nonprofit that helps startups. And I'm part of a community of entrepreneurs in New York. So I want to just bring all these people, put them in, and then connect dots. So that will do two things. One, it may help me get more customers for Stack, but it'll also do what I want. Help people connect and make more money. And then when you got too much money, you're gonna want to Stack, right? So that's my goal. So this is the third thing I did in less than a month. Basically on the 24th will be a month since I started playing with this stuff heavy. And I've already created 3 things that help the business. One helps me create videos every day with just speaking or very easily. 2 helps me show customers potential and current the best way to use the product. And if they have questions, they can ask. And 4th, I help the community I'm building of customers, but also of wealth stackers connect with each other. So I'll end it there if there's any questions. But this stuff is too powerful not to be playing with. You gotta play with it every day.
So Miguel, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. That was it.
So when you build that I guess like your chat bot to answer questions, so is that something that what program did you use to build that?
So I use Claude, and then I have it.
Okay, Claude.
I have an API key on Claude on Anthropic. You go to Anthropic. So you go to Anthropic, and you actually, I don't know if I should show this because it might show my API keys. But you go to Anthropic, and it gives you a key. You give it to the app, and then it keeps going back and forth. So far on my video agent, I've spent $10 in a month on credits, API credits for the video one. That's just for the text it creates and all that. For the images it creates, I created a Google account, and they give you $300 of free credits on Google. So I got $300. That means it's a penny per image. Let's see how much $300 of images are.
Once. 30,000.
I get 30,000 images for free.
Great.
That's awesome.
So you mean Google, how did Google play into this?
So Google is the thing that I use to make the images.
Okay. The
All
image.
these come
Okay.
from Google.
Gotcha. Okay.
The 11 labs, I told you I paid $99. So you combine those 3 things, and there's another one. There's another one where when I make a video, that costs 16 cents. That goes to another API. It's called I forgot. I have to find it. But yeah, so there's all these things where you call, and per call they charge you pennies. And over time, of course, it adds up, right? But it's not that crazy. Like literally, so actually look at this. I made this as part of the product to show me what is happening, right? So analytics. So check this out. I've made $70 worth of videos, 128 videos. Haven't posted them all because in the beginning I was testing. But I posted $35 worth of videos, and they got me 16,000 views.
Oh.
That's pretty good. So then what I did was, I'm not sure if you run ads for your business, but when you run ads, they have what's called a CPM. So for my industry, the CPM is pretty high, $5.75. But I'm making these videos, and they're getting me a $2 CPM right now, meaning $2 per 1,000 views I'm paying right now. And it gets cheaper and cheaper every time I post. Because every time I post a video that's 30 seconds, that's 30 cents, 40 cents, if it gets views, it lowers the number, right? So this is how I track my cost per video and the view count. And then this is overall all the money I'm spend per view. So that's where, again, it'll ask you straight up, give me an API key here, go make this. And then it just does it. And most of these places, they have free API credits. So like I told you for the news thing I did, it told me this company that I had never heard of, and they give I think thousands of free API calls a month. So I'm not even paying for that. Right. So then what I did with the match thing is I made it go to Airtable so I can look through if I want, because a database is hard to look through.
Mhm.
But here I can go through and I can have Airtable do some of that connecting as well. I can have the AI do it. I can have Airtable do it. So I built it with multiple layers of me being able to connect people in an easier way for myself. The AI could do it however makes sense for that. But for me, I wanted a visual way. So I asked it, I said, what's a way for me to be able to see this? Because for Stack, we use this other app, which is not that intuitive. So it told me use Airtable, and it walked me through step by step. And I got it wrong like 5 times, but it doesn't get frustrated, right? It's like, no, you stupid idiot, do it this way. It's just like, nope, do this. I did it wrong over and over again. Like, I don't understand. And then finally it got it. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't understand that. I get why you said that now. But again, it's just going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like the overall is this is and the more you get deeper and deeper into this, you're gonna start just moving away from the pack, because most people have no idea any of this is happening. So every day you're just creating a lead that they're not gonna be able to catch up, right? And this is the scary thing for society, right? It means that we're heading to a time where most people are not gonna know that any of this exists. They know it exists, but they use it in the worst possible way. They're not creating businesses. They're not investing. So now, investments for people who are investing are growing. The knowledge of using these tools to make more money is growing. Most of the world is going to create 2 worlds. I really worry about this. That's part of why I'm doing all this content too, because I even see it within businesses. Because I work in a nonprofit, I see businesses. I have people come to me and they're like, I want to start a t-shirt business. And I'm like, man, not enough of you want to start businesses that use AI. But that's because from where I come from, I grew up in the Bronx. They're not taught technology. You know, we're taught record labels, pizza shops, liquor stores, t-shirt lot, right? They're taught these businesses, but those type of businesses don't have a shot in the future. At least in my opinion, I don't know. But I don't think they're going to be able to compete with AI businesses, right? And or tech-enabled businesses. So it's scary. And one of the big things I think about a lot is network effect businesses are going to be really important. What that means is, if you look at, so let's start with Stack. Eventually, somebody else may be able to build Stack. Where we benefit is we have years of data, of customer data. So now we could take that data and make better decisions. So if a person starts right now, they copy us, they don't got 3 years of data to feed to AI to make better decisions. They're going to make the same mistakes we made and then learn, but we have years of data. And then on top of that, we have the AI getting better and better using that data. So we're going to get better and better. So that's a network effect, right? Because we have this data, just copying us won't kill us. But then when you look at Navo, which what I created here, this doesn't have a network effect when you first look at it, right? Because anybody could do this. And now on Twitter, everybody's making versions of this for themselves. But where I am trying to create a network effect is, I told you, I have it looking at all the videos and coming back with what it's learning. So if I ever make this where more people can use it, it will learn from more people and have more data to inform what works. So that's a network effect. More people make it better. So even with Needs Match, somebody could copy this tomorrow, but if my network has 10,000 people in here, you can't copy 10,000 people with, answers like that. So that's where you got to think about a business that has that ability. I think That's the only thing that survives AI, really. Because the longer we wait, the more stuff this is gonna do. So like right now, you see a bunch of people on Twitter making apps they're paying for. Like, so if you're like, oh, I pay $100 a month for this, can I make this with Claude Code? Yes, you can. So why would you pay $100 a month to something you can remake? But that's gonna happen to more and more things unless you have a network effect. That's the only thing. So I came to all of this because in our conversations about AI, I'm like, the only thing you can't do with AI is tell it, go get me 1,000 customers. You can have it make anything. It can make you a business, make you a website, make you an app, make you everything you just saw me do. But you can't go and say, go get me 1,000 customers. So I said, I want to work on that. So the first thing I came to was, I need to make more content. I don't want to be the person on camera making hundreds of videos a month, so I can make an AI that does it with my voice and later with my face. Then I got to, yeah, but for business to business, that's not going to work as well. You need a way to connect business to business. So that was when I came up with this one. All network effect ideas, and Stack is a network effect idea. Even Aave. Aave is a network effect, right? I could copy Aave, but I can't get $60 billion of assets in Aave, right? That's why Aave has the lead. Aave has more money in it than most banks. That's going to be hard to compete with, right? So I'll stop talking. I have a call at 8:30 with another customer, but any other questions?
No, except thank you for sharing. And I'm going to hit you up because I have some questions on just overall stuff that I'm working on that I think maybe you could
Please,
connect me
please,
to
please.
somebody to help or
Um,
so.
Yes, please. And I love talking about this stuff. I love helping people figure it out. So text
Amazing.
me, community, whatever. And also, I'll tell you another thing that I think you got to start doing as soon as possible. What I'm doing here. You
Mhm.
got to figure out how to make more of a connection with your community and customers, because that's the thing they're saying. And again, who knows? They're saying AI is not going to be able to do that, right?
Right.
You're not going to be able to like have a personal connection with an AI. I'm even starting to figure out how to do in-person stuff, like at restaurants, meetups, and stuff like that. Because those are things like AI can do videos now. It can do Zooms. It can do conversations. You got to figure out how to be you got to figure out what your unfair advantage is and try to figure out how to amplify it.
Exactly. I think it's going to come like, everybody's going to be doing AI. It's just going to be the standard. And then we're just going to go back to what we knew before, which was the human aspects. I think you're still always going to need both. And if you
Agreed.
do both correctly now, you succeed, It will,
Agreed, 1,000%,
yeah.
1,000%. So on that note, thank you for listening to my ramblings and watching my crazy fun projects.
Thank
Anybody
you,
got any
Miguel.
questions, anything to say? Anybody? Max, Jeffs, Manuel, anything? All right. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll do this again next week. Also, what I want to try to do is come to meetings like this without any agenda to talk about and just let people ask questions. So like you next week, see you can come, and if you're comfortable sharing, and I also highly recommend that. The earlier you can start sharing what you're working on with people, the more likely you are to get feedback and customers, right? So the earlier the better. And I tell people, don't worry about people stealing ideas, because it's never been easier to steal ideas. It's about what are you doing that's different, right? That they can't do. And that's where you got to really work to make sure you get that.
So your needs match really quick. Is that available now or no?
I just broke it, but I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
fix
You're
it.
gonna
And
fix
once I fix it, I'm gonna put
it.
it. I'm gonna put it in the community. I did something that broke it. I don't know what it was. I think I made an update, and it wasn't sending it to the server, the update. So something broke. It will be fixed tonight, and I'm gonna put it in the community. And I want everybody to start filling it out. That's my goal.
Nice. Thank you, Miguel. Have a good night.
You
Take care.
too. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.